Welcome to Senior Living Marketing Perspectives. I'm Debbie Howard from Senior Living Smart. And today I have the pleasure of speaking with Carrie Ann Pendergast, who is a superstar here at Senior Living Smart. She manages all of our social media and local search, and she's been with us for about the last 4 years. Welcome, Carrie Ann.
Hi, Deb. Thanks for having me. You say 4 years, and I'm like, oh, I can't believe it's been 4 years already.
I know, it flew by. Yeah, starting as an intern, and then we were so fortunate that when Carrie Ann graduated, she interviewed with other companies and chose to stay with Senior Living Smart, and now she has her own team that she's managing and is just contributes so much to our strategy and to our creativity and our content development. So thrilled today to talk about all things social media. So just to kick it off, I know that you had recently published an updated version of our social media guide of best practices for the senior living industry, and also turn that into an infographic. So maybe we can just start with you, high level, giving us those kind of key takeaways from those studies.
Yeah, absolutely. So we had a guide a couple years ago now, and it really does require you to look at it on a year-to-year basis and look at what's going on in the industry. And you'd think within the niche industry of senior living, and a lot of people think, are people on social media for senior living? And that's kind of first big question. And our answer is yes. And here's our guide, and here's how you can break it down. So we did just revamp that. And basically, what the guide talks about is a lot of best practices for not only posting and the platforms that you should be on, best times, tools, what days are the best, those kind of metrics. But we're also diving into what content and mix of posting that you should be seeing. So it's not just all stock images with your blogs, your articles, your premium content that you're putting out. It's really what's going on behind the scenes at the community, because that's what people want to see. People want to see images of residents and videos and that kind of thing. And so when you're scrolling down Facebook, it's a nice mix and fold of content into it all. And then the guide really dives into the why behind social media, because we say social media always doesn't come to mind when we think about strategies for converting leads to move-ins. That being said, it really can if you're doing it well, and you need to have that presence on social media. So part of our job that my team works to see through for clients is that they're well represented on any kind of online social presence or what have you, and making sure that your community has a voice and a differentiator. Your brand's coming through and your audience is engaged and seeing what they want to see, which is usually their family members and what's going on at the community. So we dive into all of that within the guide first and foremost. And then recently from the guide and from a study that Bright Local actually put out is talking about what we're using social media for within a local marketing strategy. So it all does play together. And my title is Director of Social Marketing, but then we dive into more of what does that mean and how does that tie into your local presence with local SEO, and what those infographics are for. So it dives into social media being used for advocacy, engagement, and trust are the three keywords. And then looking at 99% of successful multi-location brands are using social media. 75% of those are using social media as their top tactic to reach a local audience. So that's against the big guys like paid social, direct mail, email, SEO. Social media is at the top of that. And so it's looking at that and saying, okay, other people are using social media. I need to be using social media as well. So it's really just looking at how are people using social media successfully and how we can get our clients on that same page.
Yeah, it was really encouraging to see Dreamscape just came out with a benchmarking study and how people are looking to invest their marketing dollars in 2024. And 72% said they plan to increase social media. And when you think about the investment of social media versus some of the other channels, which can be really costly and there's a barrier to entry and it's
Yep.
time consuming and it takes a lot of resources to get up and running, it just seems like social media can be a channel that's a little bit quicker, easier, less expensive. It's just more accessible for people to be successful because it's just about being authentic, right? It doesn't have to be overly produced. And I think overly produced almost works against you.
Absolutely. Yeah. So what we were trying to think about going into this year is how can we move away from people thinking more social media with a cookie cutter strategy and move into more of a storytelling strategy, because storytelling is going to be way more interesting to learn about the residents and the community, what's going on at the community, different events, and kind of the brand's personality versus a cookie cutter marketing strategy where, like I said, you're getting stock images and people aren't posting. And so what we try to do is get everyone that's at the community, anyone who is involved with your activities directors and on the grounds day to day, have them comfortable with taking images, taking videos, and either training them. We provide training for anyone on the client side to feel confident in using the different platforms that we advise. Or on the other hand, they can always send them right over to us and we'll upload them for them. So it's twofold there. No matter what, though, the end goal is get that content, get anything that's going on in the community and get it onto Facebook or YouTube, LinkedIn, whatever platform that we're using.
That's awesome. Yeah, I feel like there's so many ways to differentiate yourself using social media, and so much about our industry is everyone has 3 meals and great dining and transportation and all of the things that are very consistent across the brands, but nobody has your story and nobody has your culture or your residents or your personalities. How do you work with each client? Because I would think being in a niche industry, people might think, how do you avoid not doing the same thing? But I've just seen some really creative work that comes out of your team. And what's your process for really uncovering that and creating unique campaigns and storytelling for each client?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, it's sitting down with the client and looking at what they have currently going on, what's their current presence, and then we look at their website and always look for what's their better and different story there. And then it's taking both of those and translating it over to social media. So it's really a great lens into the community's lifestyle and culture. Obviously, we want to keep family members up to date. And it differs on level of care as well. So maybe in more of an assisted living or memory care setting, we're looking at just showing the safety and security that family members can see that going on in the community. And then maybe if it's more of the IL going into AL side, it's really showing great socialization and lots of activities going on, getting outside, doing sitter size classes. I've seen so many different cool programs that I'm like, I wish I'm in the community doing the same thing. I'm sure you feel the same way. There's just so many cool things going on at these communities. So half the work's already done for us. They have the personality and the great people, the teams that are really just making everything happen. So it's taking all of that and transcribing it to an online setting. So it's really just showing the vibrant lifestyle, making sure that it's done through storytelling. And a lot of that starts also with developing personas, which we talk a lot about. So the persona development is looking at who's your audience, how can we get to them at the different stages of whether they're not moved in yet or if they're already in a community. So the marketing and storytelling is a little bit different at each stage, right? But that's why we develop the personas to make sure that we're hitting the prospect or whoever it may be at the right stage of their journey.
Yeah, I know. I had Nancy Harhut on a few weeks ago. I think you heard that podcast where she talks about how people make decisions, right? And it's not only knowledge and intellectual and all of the reasoning behind why it's time to make a move or why senior living is a better choice or it's the right timing, but it's really that emotional connection. And other marketing channels, it's really a struggle to make that emotional connection. How emotional can a website be, or how emotional can a paid ad be, or a postcard be? So I feel like really the channel that you have to show just that compelling emotional message of caring and concern and really creating almost a sense of belonging before somebody even moves in, because there's always that, is mom or dad going to be happy here? Are there
Yes.
kinds of people that like them who are living here? Because sometimes it's hard for us to picture our parents as being needing help. And so when they start seeing, oh, there's teachers here and there's people who have my mom's same interests and hobbies, and they're doing the kinds of things that my mom or dad or I enjoy, if it's
Yeah.
independent living or if I'm looking for assisted living for myself. How do you go about, I guess it all starts maybe with the total online presence audit, because that gives you a lens into what they're currently doing and also what competitors are doing. And is that a vehicle? Maybe you can tell the audience a little bit about a total online presence audit and what your goals are and what you learn from those.
Sure. Yeah. So we always start off whenever we're working with a new client. It's called a TOPA, the Total Online Presence Audit. And we use it to see where the client's at when they're first starting with us. And then from there, we can make some benchmarking, which is really important for us to see, okay, this is at 0 months when they're just starting out with us. Here we are 3 months later. Here we are 6 months later. And then we can look back at that data and see what went right, what went wrong, and where we're going for the next 6 months. So it's really a stepping stones, that TOPA. And on the social side of the TOPA, we're just looking at who the competitors are for a certain community. What's their online presence like? What are they doing on Facebook? How often are they posting? What kind of content are they posting? How many followers do they have? Who's engaging with this type of content? Is it family members or is it just people in the community, whether that be people at the Chamber of Commerce or another senior center or whatever it may be? Just who and what is going on their site, on their Facebook page. And then it's looking at our new client's Facebook page and saying, okay, now on the other side, how many followers do they have? What are they posting? Is it a healthy mix? Are they not posting at all? Sometimes that is the case where it's just they haven't posted in 4 months and then it's okay. We're starting from kind of ground zero here and working our way up. But it really does give us a good jumping off point to get after that low hanging fruit and say, okay, here's where we can make recommendations on your basic info, your about section, your profile picture, your cover image, even the small things like that is stuff that we're looking at to making sure that it's resonating with your brand, that it ties with your brand, and then that your audience is going to understand it as well and tie it back to who you are.
Yeah, and you talked a lot about benchmarking and measuring success. And I always thought that social media is hard to measure success, right? There's not that necessarily that direct line that you can say, hey, this campaign equaled X number of leads, tours, deposits, and move-ins. It's hard to pinpoint. And sometimes it's hard for clients to always grasp the value of how do all these things work together. There's been lots of studies that say that people believe social media more than they believe anything that's published from the brand,
Yeah.
because it's other people, right?
Yep.
Those brand ambassadors. How do you measure success?
Yeah, no, that's a great point. First and foremost, people want to hear from other people, right? So it's that human element, and that kind of builds the trust and loyalty. And in part of our research for creating our recent infographics, we found that local and regional marketers are seeing the most impact on revenues from social media over any other channel. So again, that's your SEO, email, direct mail, paid social, whatever it may be. Social media, they're actually seeing the most impact for their revenue. So that tells you right there that it is measurable because people are seeing those results, that return on investment. But for us, quarter to quarter, what we're looking at, going back to those benchmarks, we're looking at how many clicks are we generating to the website? If SLS is putting out blogs, premium content pieces, industry related articles, who is clicking on that? How many people are we driving to the website? And then we can look at how long are they staying at the website? Are they new users? Are they returning users? And so on and so forth. And then from there, we're also looking at who's interacting with the social content. Is it people who are following our page? Is it people who are new and maybe they are considering moving into a senior living community and are checking out on your Facebook page to see if it'll be a good fit? Shares is another one that we look at, because how the algorithm works is that the more people that share your post, Facebook will spread it out it's like the dropping a rock in a pond and then you see the ripple effect, right? That is how you think about shares. The more people are going to see your content. And then impressions, which is basically just looking at who's seeing your content, how many times, and what is that reach that your posts are getting. So quarter to quarter, it's clicks, it's interactions, shares, impressions. And we also take a look at how many times you're posting, because Facebook is the big player for our industry. And we like to see about around 5 times per week for posting. And that puts us about 60 times per quarter. It's a benchmark that we've worked with for a long time now. And it does result in, if you're hitting that benchmark, you're going to see an uptick in your interactions and your impressions and so on and so forth.
A little bit of art and a little bit of science.
That's right. That's the magic.
So let's switch gears a little bit to local search. And really, when you think about senior living, it's all about local search, because either the adult child typically lives within a pretty small radius to a location, or the resident themselves does. So how does social media impact local search and kind of that local search ranking? We're always trying to get everybody up into that map and 3-pack.
Yeah, so we found that the top 3 local marketing tactics of high performing multi-location businesses are social media, email, and video. So social media does have a big impact on local search and your strategy there. And if you're not using social media, then your local search game is going to fall off the grid. So the two of them go hand in hand. Something that my team works a ton on and audits every 6 months for all of our clients is Google Business Profiles. And we always say this to our clients, that your Google Business Profile should be a reflection of your website. So when someone goes to type in senior living near me or senior living in Atlanta, Georgia, they should be able to find your business within that top 3, which is what we call the local map pack. That's where we want our clients to be, is in that top 3. And then when you are searching that, on the right side of your screen, you're going to see the name of the community and then all of the information that goes along with that. That's your Google Business Profile. So you're seeing hours of operation, you're seeing images of the community. You can click directly through to the website. And then what we like to do is add all of our guides, floor plans, frequently asked questions, anything that you would expect to see on the website. We want to see it directly on your Google Business Profile. Not only is it more eye-catching and it makes you want to dive in more, but we're hoping that what this information does is it gets the click to the actual website. And that will obviously hopefully lead to them downloading a brochure or scheduling a tour or what have it be. But also maybe they are accessing directions to the community or asking a question that then someone at the community can reply to. They're reading reviews. We always talk about reviews and how important they are. We love to see that a community is above at least a 4.2. I like to say that that's the industry maybe low mark that we want to keep everyone above. And people read reviews for everything, right? Like, even if we're on Amazon before we're purchasing something, we're going to read all of the reviews. And we have that standard in our head. If this is below a 4, I'm not going to buy your product. It's the same thing with senior living. If something is dipping below a 4.2, someone might move on to another community. So we want to see what people are saying. And even if it's something negative, we want to make sure that it's being responded to. So we actually advise our clients to respond to everything that's positive, negative, everything and anything in between. That conversation needs to be had, and it in turn helps with your local SEO.
And you really need that consistency, because I know it was like a Place for Mom that put out that study that said prospects don't even care about reviews that are more than 6 months old. It's all about what's happening in the most recent time. So you can't have enough reviews. You have to be very intentional about being proactive to make reviews just part of your prospect journey. Always asking for that kind of feedback so you'll get that consistent. So it sounds like the trifecta for local search is social media reviews and Google Business Profile.
It really is, yeah. And going back to what you said about having those reviews and generating those, our team is always there to recommend and help with gathering those reviews. So reaching out to anyone who maybe just came in for a tour or someone who just moved in, happy family members, maybe it's even a vendor that you're working with, having a little card at the front desk with a QR code asking about the experience. QR codes are everywhere. Everyone knows how to use them now. So you scan your QR code and it leads you exactly to the Google Business Profile to leave a review. It's simple as that. And then in turn, you can use those reviews on your website, right? So people are then clicking through to your website. They see the testimonial slide throughs at the bottom of your website. And it's just even more of a reason to then go ahead and maybe make contact with an advisor or to download a brochure. Those words are important. Those words are someone that's there and they trust them and they're loyal to the business. And it could be a reason why I moved my mom into a certain community. So people take other people's words very seriously. And it's something that you need to work into your local marketing strategy. And then another thing that we always look at is on Bright Local, we use these local search grids. And I know that you're a huge fan of these,
Love these.
but love these, highly recommend. We use these on a quarter to quarter basis for reporting with our clients, but also these reports get sent to our clients on a monthly basis, looking at where are we performing well on a 5 by 5 mile radius, breaking it down keyword to keyword, tracking the keywords to see, okay, maybe 5 miles east of my community, I am ranking third for the keyword assisted living. How can I get that keyword assisted living to that number one spot? And then month to month, maybe it's okay, now I'm at spot number two. Another month down the road, now I'm at spot number one, and the search grid is turning more green. We always want to see the search grid coming green. And then it gives you a good idea of where your competition is. So if 5 miles, 10 miles south of my community, I'm really struggling for the keyword memory care near me. It's okay. I'm at the 15th position and I'm just seeing new competitors coming in and getting above me. What can I do to fix this? We're looking at that data. We're in the back end. We're seeing that. We're flagging it. We're saying, okay, let's generate some new blog topics with memory care and looking at what else can we be doing on a content perspective, because as content is king, content is what's really going to play into that SEO as well. We're getting our hands dirty and looking at what's performing well, what's not. People like to see that visually. So that's really helpful within those local search grids. And it's also looking at new competitors coming into market. And that all ties back to the differentiators. So it is one kind of big circle and hand in hand between local search and social media, but it's super helpful for us to make recommendations to our clients.
Awesome. So a couple quick questions to finish off with. I'd love to know your thoughts on AI and where you see the use cases being beneficial in senior living.
I'm super excited because AI is a moving bus that's not going to stop for anyone. So we really need to be able to jump on that bus and make sure that we're not only using it for ourselves, but for our clients where appropriate. And really the best way that I see it being used is for that brainstorming and kind of the ideation and forming plans and schedules and things like that. For me, it's looking at my social media planning 5 months, 6 months down the road. How am I planning out what dates am I posting? What kind of content is going to be going out on that day? What time? What's the theme of the content that's going to be going out? all of that I've been able to use AI to help with. And that's not anything that's taking away from my original idea and strategy, but it's helping me plan. So it's
Yeah.
I'm bringing the strategy, they're bringing the planning, and we're using it hands in hand to really make life easier. And then I have plenty of content that's going to be going out for the next year because I've used this and it's made my life easier, and it just really helps with the idea generation of it.
Yeah, I love the idea of being able to put in a blog post that's been written by a human being. I know all of our copywriters are real people
Yes.
writing original content, but then you can put that into Chat GPT and say, give me 20 social posts from read this
Yes.
content and or take this content and turn it into a checklist or a top 10 list. And so you can really do a lot of mixing of content as well.
Yeah, it's also been helpful in looking at, we go back to those personas, and you're saying, okay, here are my demographics of my persona and what they are interested in and where they get their information from. And I can pop that into ChatGPT and it will come back with a whole persona kind of development for me. And that just helps get the ball rolling on persona development. And yeah, like you said, repurposing content is everything because you can have one piece of content that you start with and then you end with 50 pieces of content. And it saves you a ton of time because if you're working on 50 pieces of content, that might take me a month versus it took Chat GPT 30 seconds. So it's really seeing how can we be efficient and proactive, but also use our strategy that, like you said, our team is a team full of experts. Our copywriters are brilliant. And how can we use that to our advantage with kind of the help of Chat GPT, not letting them do it for us, but just giving us a little assist. So it's all about that assist.
Awesome. And my last question is, what trends are you watching maybe outside the industry that are exciting for you in 2024 and beyond?
Yes, that's a great question. I always preach video. It's the most engaging type of content. And even outside of the industry, you see it on every single platform now that you could ever imagine for social media. Facebook or Meta has shorts, and YouTube has their shorts, and Instagram has their reels.
Yeah.
TikTok, obviously, everyone's copying TikTok, and everyone wants these short form videos that they can open up, watch 30 seconds of, and then move on to the next video. I think that the senior living industry needs to jump on this train, and ways that we can do that is repurposing content that we already have, and then also looking at different resident testimonials, hearing from the residents themselves, their stories. They have incredible stories, absolutely incredible. And the more of those that we can get in front of other people, the better everyone's going to be because those stories are just amazing to hear. But then it's also looking at what can we use videos for in a world where so many of us are remote and we've gotten used to this comfort of our homes. So maybe it's a video tour of a community before you go to that community. You can take a sneak peek of what the community will look like before you even step into it with a video. So it's really engaging, it's meaningful, and you get what you give with it. It can be something quick and easy, but it will be meaningful and people will watch it and engage with it. And for trends as well, AI, like we just talked about. But we also found in the that people are spending, or marketing spend is on the rise from the senior housing news survey that they just put out. Marketing spend's on the rise. So let's invest in storytelling. Marketing through storytelling is so much more powerful. And I know I already talked about this, but I just want to reiterate it again. So video, storytelling, using AI for assist. And yeah, I think that connecting on a human to human level is so much more meaningful than anything else that you're going to get. So it's not set it and forget it. It's not contributing and not using different tactics to, like I said, the kind of cookie cutter marketing. it's storytelling and it's connecting with people.
That's great. Awesome. Carrie Ann, thank you so much for joining me today and sharing your senior living marketing perspectives with us. And we'll make sure that your guide and infographic is included in the show notes so that people can get a copy of that. And anybody can reach out to you on LinkedIn or on our website.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much, Deb. I love talking about social media, so I'm really glad I was able to join you today.
Thanks so much.